Hey guys, it's Mongolian Mindset, and today we're gonna be helping one of our members find their personality type. As usual, you don't have to go into any traumas, anything like that, but what you do say we will use to find your type. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sandra Maica. I'm 33 years old. I live in Brazil. At the moment, I'm looking for a new job. I got into typology a very long time ago. I guess it was about 10 years ago or something. I started out, I think, like most people taking the 16 personalities test, which obviously didn't get my type right. At least I don't think so. At the time, I also learned about the Enneagram and I also got typed by that. And it's very frustrating to me that even though typology has helped me a lot throughout the years, like in understanding other people and being able to have better relationships, I'm not sure of my type to this day. And that is really, really frustrating for me and kind of embarrassing, really, because I've been helping other people in my life getting typed.
Hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty good at typing other people. So I don't know why I have issues with typing myself. I guess I'm not as self-aware as I thought I was. And because I was so frustrated, I thought it would be good to get, an outside perspective.
Okay, okay. Uh, what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, honestly, I heard about it from other people and I was looking into other groups on Facebook and everything. And I thought that it would be perhaps better that unless other people would help me, I thought I wouldn't get my type ever, ever. I
Oh,
was
no,
kind of
no.
scared.
I asked, what do you want to be remembered for, like as a human being?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking me why I wanted to be a member of the group.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no,
I want
no.
to be remembered, I guess, as a good person, and somebody competent. I think those are my priorities.
Okay, I'm with you. Like, so you want that to be on your tombstone?
Yeah, I think I want people to actually miss me as a person, not just because I was somebody useful, but because they actually liked me.
Hmm. What do you think are the tough things with people dealing with people?
Honestly, I think that, like I said, before I got into typology, I used to have very difficult relationships with other people. And I think it's because I'm very headstrong. And when I was younger, I had this issue where I couldn't really communicate with people who thought in a way that was very different from mine. And typology has helped me with that because now I feel like I can appreciate other people's personalities and the fact that even though they don't think like me, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. They just function in a different way. And to this day, I still have a little bit of issues with people. Like, for example, I'm very impatient. That's unfortunately, something that I wasn't able to work on as much as I would like to. So I don't have a lot of patience for people who are very slow, either in talking or thinking. That's a huge problem that I have that I try to be more patient, but it's a problem. And also, I think I have a problem with people who are overconfident, people who are very cocky, stuff like that. Like, I just can't stand people like that.
Okay, well, I already know your type. But let's keep going. Um, wow. Okay, so what makes you mad about confident people or cocky people?
No, I don't have any problem. Actually, I love confidence, but I do think there's a very fine line between being confident and being overconfident. And I think the problem is that people who are overconfident is not just that they are, let's say, annoying, but I had a lot of issues with them when I was studying or at a job. I think that when you're overconfident, sometimes you take upon things that you can't actually do, and then other people get implied into that. And I think that that's my main issue when somebody says, that they can take on something, but they actually can't. And then you have to end up doing their job for them. It's more on that side. That's why I get so annoyed, I think. And also because I think it's just so unnecessary. I think that it's a given that if you are really good at something, it's going to show up. People are going to know because you can't hide talent and you can't hide hard work.
Okay, what do you think contributes to your success?
I think it's the fact that I'm very focused. When I find something that I like, and that's the problem, I have to like the thing that I'm doing. And then I get very focused and very dedicated. And I just always try to do the best job that I can. But like I said, I have this issue where if I'm really not interested in something, it's like so difficult for me to actually expend my energy into that. I have to force myself, and I know that my work will probably be subpar.
Okay, okay. Um, what are three words your friends would say about you?
I think that they would say intense, honest, and also what else? I think that they would say that I'm kind of very reserved. I'm a very reserved kind of person. I'm not shy or anything like that, but I am very reserved. I don't really talk about my feelings with literally anyone. I actually had a very hard time going to therapy because I knew that I needed it. I knew it would be good for me, but I just like the idea of having to really say to other person what I feel. It's just very hard for me. I'm very reserved with my feelings.
Okay.
Can you describe yourself as a child?
Oh, I was different than I am now in some ways. I was a lot more open with people. I was a chatterbox. I talked a lot. Well, I still talk a lot, but only about the things that are very important to me now. But before, I used to drive my mom crazy because I was very curious and I asked a lot of questions. I wanted to know why and how of everything. I was also very physically more active than I am now. I was very reckless, actually. I don't know how I didn't die. I guess it was just because God didn't want me to die because I used to be very reckless when I was a child. What else? I had a lot of imagination, but that imagination usually played into physical things. Like I would imagine something and I would act it out.
What advice would you give yourself as a kid?
I would tell myself to just trust myself, that there was nothing wrong with me because I remember that as a kid, I think I came across as confident, but I actually was very fragile inside. And I got a lot more coward as the years went by because I think that what other people said about me got to me, and it chipped at my confidence. I used to be very confident as a child. And then later on, as the years went by, I got less and less confident.
And you said you're working on that now, or is it? I can't remember what you were saying. Sorry. Whether you were saying you were trying to work on your confidence or
Yeah, I'm trying to work on my confidence. I'm trying to just trust myself more.
Okay. If you were on a team, what role do you think you would play? Like some people.
Well, usually I ended up being the leader, even though I don't like being a leader. And the reason why it's like there's the good side of it where you can make decisions, and I like being able to make my own decisions. I don't like having to follow other people. That's a problem that I have. Also, like I respect other people in hierarchies, but I like to be able to make my own decisions, especially when I feel very strongly about something. But I ended up as a leader basically because either A, people were not doing their job at work, especially in school during my school years. Every time we had some project, in a team, people were just not pulling their weight. And so I ended up having to step up and being the leader. Or because people were just plain incompetent sometimes, they didn't know what they were doing. So I had to step up and become the leader. And I ended up being really good at the job most of the time. I tried to not be the leader. I always wanted to push the responsibility onto other people, but it never worked. So I ended up being the leader.
what's one of your favorite memories from childhood or life?
From childhood, I think it was the moments I spent with my mom because she was always so busy working. We never had a lot of time together, but when we had time together, it was really good. Like me and her, we're very different, but we always had a bond, a very strong bond. Even without words, we always knew what the other was thinking or feeling. And so I have a lot of very small common memories, like having ice cream with my mom, or going to the movies with her. I'll never forget the first time we went to the movies together. It was very special to me. So yeah, I would say time with my family.
How do you behave when you get angry?
Oh, well, that's not a pretty sight. I think I'm a little bit better now, but I used to be angry a lot of the time. Not really. I mean, I don't know if it was just a psychological problem that I had or if it was my nature. But like I said, I still have a short fuse and I'm very impatient, like I said. So if people were not following what I thought they should be doing, or if they didn't get what I was trying to say, anything really would set me off. And usually when I was angry, well, still to this day, I kind of have to bite my tongue now to not hurt other people, because I think that I ended up saying a lot of stuff that even though it was true, it was unnecessary. I didn't have to be that harsh. But I've always been like this. Ever since I was a child, when I got angry, I was very harsh with other people.
Do you think you hold on to a grudge after you've vented out?
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. I'm not the type of person to easily forgive others. That's something that I'm still working on. I don't want to hold a grudge because I know it's not good for me. It's actually a very selfish reason. I know it's not a good thing. I know you don't feel good, but my nature is to actually not forget things very easily when they go wrong with someone.
So you were talking about like imagining things. How often do you do that?
Well, I don't know. It's not imagining like fiction necessarily. It's just like my imagination is more when I speculate about things, like for example, I have a lot of intuition, not in the Myers-Briggs way. I don't think that's necessarily what it is, but in the common way we say, I have a lot of intuitions about people, especially, and about how things are going to turn out. And I've always been this way ever since I was a child. And most of the time, I would say at least 90% of the time, I'm right. And so sometimes I try to, see what's going to happen before it happens. And so I imagine in my head things playing out. And usually I have a very clear vision and usually it plays out the way that I expected. So that's why I think I trust my imagination in that way. But I'm not the kind of person who thinks in a more like fantastical way. My mom is like that, she's an ENFP and we're very different in that way because she has a lot more creativity, I think, than I have.
Um, um,
How do you handle social situations with strangers?
Well, like, well, no, it's usually okay. I'm not shy. I'm not very timid, but I am reserved. And also I am very much into kind of reading the room before I start, actually interacting with people. So if I feel comfortable, I usually talk well with people. I like talking to new people and getting to know them. But if I feel uncomfortable, then I have to make a very strong conscious choice, an effort to try and talk to them because generally when I feel like that, I don't want to talk to the person, I just wish I could just leave. But I guess that's normal. I think almost everyone is the same way, right?
um, yeah. How
What
do
what
you know
are
somebody's a friend for you? Like, how do you like how does someone become a friend to you?
Well, it's not easy. I am somebody who believes that there's a very strong difference between people that I generally like, but they're more like acquaintances and friends. For someone to become a friend, I have to trust them first. This is very important. And to be honest, trust with me is something that have to be earned. I don't trust people from the get-go. They have to show me, throughout a lot of different situations and throughout time that I can trust them. And also, of course, we need to have something in common. You know, we can have a lot of differences, but we have to have at least a couple things we like. Like for example, let's say that we like the same type of music, or we like reading, we like some type of activity. It can be somebody who I have nothing to do with.
Okay, okay, makes sense.
what what's what is a part of your personality that you feel confident about and a part that you feel insecure about?
Sorry, can you please repeat it?
So your personality, what's something you feel insecure about and something that you feel confident about?
Oh, well, I feel like I should just be more open to new experiences sometimes. I feel like I can feel very afraid sometimes of doing things that I've never done before, especially if they would expose me in some way. You know, in that way, I'm very timid. The idea of being embarrassed or humiliated is something that is very close to me. I think that actually might have to do something with my Enneagram type. You know, I always think, will I look like a fool if I do this? You know, and if I think I might, then I don't do it. So I ended up talking myself out of trying new things sometimes. And that's something that I'm working on right now. I want to be more courageous, you know, and be able to put myself out there.
Okay, and what do you feel secure about? Or
My
confident?
intelligence, honestly, that might sound cocky, but I know that I'm very smart. That's been something that I've always known since I was very little. And I actually used to resent it a little bit, not because I didn't want to be intelligent, but because I wanted people to see other things in me, you know. I wanted them to see other characteristics, and they would always just say, "Oh, you're very smart, you're very smart, you're very smart." So when I was younger, that was a time I didn't want to hear that anymore. But now, as an adult, you know, I'm very happy that I can trust my mind, you know.
And if I had to ask you, so I mean, I think a lot of people with certain types like this or mine, we tend to think that we're smarter than we are. But if we sat in a room with other people of the similar type, you think you'd be just as smart?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm not a genius of any kind. I'm not a
Well,
genius.
you
I'm not
would.
saying that I am a genius because I'm not, but I am
Uh-huh.
very smart. Like I said, I have a lot of insecurities, especially about, like I said, going out into the world with doing something completely crazy that I've never done. And sometimes I wish I was more open with people too,
Hmm.
because I think it would be easier to be who I am if I was more open. But I can trust myself in that way. I trust myself that I would be smart enough.
I always find that. I think I think your type, my type, other types, if we sat all in a room, you probably find that we're more middle of the pack. But the reason why we beat a lot of people out is because they're not our types and we're not around our types.
I went to a physics banquet. Yeah, that'll make a
But that
difference.
might be true. That might be true.
Hmm. You know, like if you play like a game like chess or something, you really play a lot of our types
Oh
and you
yeah.
get humbled very
Yeah,
quickly.
I
Or
know that.
like, let's say
Yeah.
if you're trying to go in the industry with like a lot of my type and your type or whatever, or my type, your type, Thomas type, are into, you find out very quickly, like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to do a
Yes,
lot more
definitely.
work than what I'm used to. Because I think a lot of times like we're around like maybe other people that aren't to intellectual standpoint and we get away with it. Um, but once you're around like all of us, like and we're all gunning for top spot, whoo, it's tough out here.
How
Uh,
do you feel about your environment being chaotic?
Oh, well, I feel like I can deal with it, but I don't like it at all. Like when there's chaos around me, I feel like my mind is being pressured, you know, like I feel like almost like it's a physical energy is like pressuring me and I can't think straight. So I have to step
Ooh.
up. Like I said, I used to do this when I was little, you know, at school. I have to step up and put a little bit of order at least so I can function in a normal way.
Okay. What do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, it's very vague, I guess, but I want to be happy in a way that right now I'm not really. And the way to that, I believe, is to feel more secure in myself. Like I honestly believe that that's going to change my life because I feel like it's the one thing that is really missing for me right now. For a long time, I felt that I had other things to work on, but now I feel like if I want to be somebody who's happy and satisfied in 5 to 10 years, I need to be more secure in myself.
Hmm.
I also want to be more professionally, you know, secure. Right now, I'm actually trying out new things in the area, and I'm not sure, 100% sure of what I want to do. But in 10 years, I want to be able to respond with yes. If somebody asks me, "Are you happy right now?" I want to be able to say, "Yes, I am. I am satisfied."
That's interesting. If you had three wishes, what would you wish for, Noir?
Well, I would wish for. Mm, I feel like one thing would be enough. Honestly, I feel where right now my idea is that I would wish for an unlimited amount of cash. That would be the one thing I would desire because I think it would help so much, in a lot of plans that I have, I would need to have a lot of money to do those things. And right now I don't have it. What else would I ask? When I was younger, I used to think that I was gonna ask to be immortal because I didn't want to die. Now I don't think I would ask for it.
Why?
I think I would ask for wisdom. I would ask to be, wiser and be able to make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But a third wish, oh, okay, I know. I would wish for really good health for my family, my mom especially. I would wish for that because, during COVID, we had a very tough time. I really thought I would lose her. And it was like the scariest shit I've ever been through. So I would like to wish for those things.
What are some behaviors from other people that anger you?
Usually,
Other,
like I said before, when people don't pull their weight and they make me work more or have to do their job, that's a big thing. Another red flag would be people who are very unpolite. I have a hard time with people who don't know their manners. Besides that, people who lie, especially about very frivolous shit. There's people who lie about such things that I don't understand why, because they're not even important. What else? Like I said, I don't like people who are too into themselves too. Like if they're too in love with themselves, I find that annoying. What else? And slow people, people who think too slowly or do things too slowly, that's a big trigger for me.
All right, I'm gonna give you a hypothetical situation. If you
Okay.
found out your husband was cheating on you, what would you do?
What would I do? I would get a divorce and I would
guilty
get
pleasure.
everything from him. I would take everything I could from him
Oh,
and would just curse him and his next generation. That would be it.
Amherst, you better think twice.
No, I don't have to be kind. That's a very strong thing about me is that I just when somebody crosses me, when I do something really bad, then I just want the worst for them. Really.
Yeah.
Um,
Agree.
I
So,
just remember me and Shelly talking about that earlier, so that's the reason why I asked that. Thomas, you got anything, or you want to wrap it up?
I think yeah, I think we know what's what, but yeah, I guess let's just wrap it up.
All right, are you ready, Sandra?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, Sandra. Um, you are direct. Okay, so that means you're specific, concise, and to the point. It's easy to follow what you're saying. You're very headstrong. You like to make the decisions yourself. You like your own personal freedom. So you're pragmatic, okay? Uh, when you talked about earlier, you talked about conflict with people who thought differently. That's because you're an NI user and you're very close-minded. Open-minded people don't really have as much problem with that, but people who are very strong NI tend to have a very hard time with people who think differently than them. Um, just that. You said I'm very focused. Like I asked you, what was your number, like thing that like would define you, and you say you're very focused, which means NI. Okay. I know this, I know that. Like when you were talking about like I forget exactly, but that's NI again. Talking about things that are very important to you as a person. That's FI. You talked about imagining things and then acting it out. So that's abstract and NI again. Um, as the years went by, I got less and less confident. So that was like a progression statement there. Um,
also
I like,
SE inferior.
huh?
Also SE inferior. Negative situations kind of make us deter us.
I like to be able to make decisions and make my own, whatever the fuck I put there. But that was pragmatic and I, uh, oh yeah, you only take over a leadership position when you find that there's not a competent leader. That is an INTJ thing to do. And generally speaking, INTJs will wait. Well, damn, I shouldn't drop it like that. But INTJs will wait until like they are like, basically forced into leadership positions by other people being incompetent. As opposed to somebody like myself, I'm just gonna take it off the rip. Like that's my spot. Like get out of my way. That's the difference between the ENTJ and INTJ. Like I'm always gunning from that position. Like there's never like if I drop in a position, I'm always gunning for the top position, and it's just a matter of time before I take it. As in you guys, it's kind of like, well, I would like somebody else to lead if they're good enough, or I would like to put the responsibility on them so I can do whatever fuck I want to do. So that's like a INTJ thing to do. You talked about when you get angry, you just say harsh shit to people, and that's generally low FE there. That's usually gonna be FE trickster, FE demon. We could say some very nasty shit to people and very much offend the shit out of them. And naturally speaking, we just talk that way, and it offends other people, and we don't even notice it. Um, you talked about speculating things. You like to speculate things. That's usually an NI thing. Like we generally speculate the future a lot. Just in general, like speculate. Okay, this could happen. This could happen. Or like me, or like I'll speculate about like stocks and stuff like that. I'll speculate about fucking
Mhm.
anything. Like anything that we talk about, I'll be like speculating about. Like me and Dion were talking about basketball and speculating, and I was speculating that like the height change would drastically change because people are shooting better in basketball, and height. I mean, shooting doesn't have anything to do with height, so it actually lowered quite a bit. But that's just speculating. It could happen, could not happen. That's NI. Um, you talked about having a clear vision. Okay. You are afraid to try something new and are scared. If it fails or whatnot, that's like SE inferior right there. It's kind of got you in the grip. Like if it
Oh.
fails, it's gonna go down for you. Um, and it's gonna hurt your confidence and take you a while to get back to where you want to be. That's an SE inferior. Very afraid of trying something new. So we got you as an INTJ. Um,
That's crazy, because that was actually something that I had in the past. Like, but that was a very long time ago. I had typed myself as an NTJ, but then I got so annoyed, I guess, with the discourse about INTJs.
mhm.
Everybody wanted to be one, or they wanted to type their favorite characters as INTJ, and that was this huge like, oh, INTJs are the masterminds, they are geniuses and stuff like that. And I honestly never saw myself that way. And
That's
I
not what you
thought,
said during this whole
no, but
talk.
really, I didn't think like that. I thought, I'm not a genius, like I'm smart, I know, but other people saying this kind of stuff, and also like the playing chess with people thing, I also thought it was so corny. And that was like the reason why I started to look into other types. And I thought it was a lot of different types at different points in my life, but I always ended up coming back to those four functions. Most of the
Mhm.
time, I think I knew that I had those four functions, but I had a very hard time ranking them. I had a hard time organizing them in my mind and knowing, this is your dominant, this is auxiliary. Like I couldn't tell. I could tell that I used, as CNI and TFI. I never thought I was types who didn't use those functions, but I couldn't really find among those four which I was.
Mhm.
And now hearing you say all those things, it makes a lot of sense. But I
Mhm.
feel like I needed someone else to say that to me.
So
No.
I just have another question. How do you know if somebody's telling you the truth?
Well, there's two different possibilities. The first one, of course, is if I have information that I know, is not congruent with what they're saying. But the other one, and I think is the one that I use the most actually, is I just know. I know it's weird to say that and people don't
No.
trust it
No,
because
that
I
makes
don't
a lot of
have proof.
sense.
Or I
That
don't have proof,
that
but I just
makes a lot of
know
sense.
when somebody's lying to me. Ever
So
since I was a kid, I always knew. That's why it's so hard for me to trust people, because if people were more honest, then I wouldn't have a problem with them, at a lot of the times. But what makes me very angry and disappointed is that people will lie about the most inane shit ever, like the most insignificant things. They will lie every day, and I don't know why. I don't get it.
all right, so the knowing is NI. NI is the knowing function. So that's the reason why you said like I just know without like being able to explain to NI, um, which is your dominant function. But what did you type yourself? What was your consensus on that?
Well, I typed myself first actually as like the opposite type. I typed myself as ESFP once for some time. Yeah, I actually thought it was ESFP because of like some very stereotypical things. I think it's because INTJs usually said that they didn't like things like statics, or they didn't like things like physical activities and stuff like that. And because I was very good at those things, I thought I had higher SC. But
Mhm.
then it didn't take me long to understand that I was very different. And so I actually typed myself as both ISFP and ENTJ, and none of them actually made total sense or were felt right. But it was always like so weird. I felt like some parts of it were like me and others weren't. And I
Mhm.
guess that me being INTJ makes sense because I still have stronger FI than any INTJ would have, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would if I had to pinpoint a subset, you'd probably be a dominant subset of an INTJ. It's
Hmm.
like you kind of got a lot of fire. Seems like a lot of fire is coming from you. Just energy wise, it's like a lot of it. Like when you said, "I'll take everything from him," like, "Whoa, shit!" This...
Yeah, don't get me mad. Don't
Shelly's
get me
probably not
mad.
gonna say that. Shelly's probably not gonna say that, but she's probably gonna do it. But she's not gonna say it, right, Shelly?
In that situation, yeah, you're probably gonna pay. Otherwise, like it was just like a mutual breakup. Yeah, no, I don't think that it's right to take other people's stuff.
Yeah.
To see
But
me,
what
and
enneagram did you get for yourself?
not too much.
I got 8.
Woo, that makes sense.
I got 8.
Oh my God, that makes a lot of sense.
I think it's like 835. Yeah, 835 is my 3 type.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh. You got any questions for us? That would make a lot
No,
of sense.
no, 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 no. I think it was very enlightening. Like, I don't think I would honestly have gotten to this answer on my own. So I'm very thankful. Very thankful.
No problem. Well, I'm looking forward to see you in the community. Thomas, you got anything you want to say before we go, or Shelly?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.